Blue lace agate is one of the 7 treasures of Buddhism. It is the essence of billions of years of heaven and earth's spiritual energy. It is often seen as an incarnation of lotus flowers. The white lace-like pattern amidst the light blue hue is likened to flower petals dancing in the wind. It blesses wearers with good luck, health, and auspiciousness. The blue lace agate bracelets are available on Medicine Buddha's birthday. They are blessed by Grandmaster JinBodhi. May the wearer of these bracelets be blessed with purity, ease, wealth, and good fortune. May Lady Luck be on their side, bringing success in all things. Candy-colored agate. The candy-colored agate's origin dates back 150 million years. The name candy-colored agate comes from the stone's candy-like color. Every agate is natural and unique, having been honed over 100 million years as it absorbed heaven and earth's essence and energy and became a relic of earth. The agates are carefully selected, pierced, and strung as bracelets and mala necklaces. Blessed by Grandmaster JinBodhi, these agate mala beads offer the wearer wisdom, inspiration, and eternal protection of universal auspicious energy. They are greatly beneficial to those with cardiovascular and allergy issues. These mala beads are also beautifying accessories, helpful in boosting women's romantic luck.
Hello,
my friends online. Hello, everyone.
好，今天呢，又是我们的家训
Today,
第18篇
we're going to talk
第
about
18
the
期
family precepts again, and
讲
it's
得够
part
多了，这么多内
18.
容
We
啊
already taught many
但是
parts.
在我们发现这些重要内容的时候，
When
就是虽然
we
多，我
well
们慢慢的
found that
讲
there are so
啊，也
many
希望
points that are very important.
青年的朋友们
Even
呢
though there are a lot,
从中
we're just
获
going
得
to
一
go
些
one
利益。
after another, and I hope
对于
the
讲解的
our
我
young
来说的
friends
话，
will
就觉
truly
得发现的这
benefit
些内容
For me
因为特别
to
重要，
explain these
特别的
precepts,
宝
I
贵，
found these are so
我们就
precious
少
and
走一些
so
弯路，
important. And if you know them,
就是
then
更
it
近
will
的接
save
近
your
一点
time
事物
and
的真理， 这样我们
would
就
prevent you
容
from
易走
making
向
too many
相对
mistakes.
更成功的人
And
生。
so your life would be more successful.
今天讲的内容呢，还属于这个在落实在这个所谓的八风吹不动，这四种
Precepts
看似
are
好
still
事，
based
四
on
种
the
看似
eight worldly
对我们很不利的
winds
事
are
情
not going to move us
啊。那我
or
呢就把它
change
这个
us. And
这个
so
这8种内容呢，把它做了一些理解性啊。
I have already
尤
analyzed
其是对于
the
苦的部
eight
分呢，
worldly winds,
我就把它
including
分
4
了
good ones
这
and
个叫
4
实苦
not so good ones.
和虚苦。
And I
这两个放在一起，大家就
analyzed
听懂了
the, you
哈。
know, what
实呢，
so-called
就是
sufferings.
看似
There are
不可
some
改变
real
的，确
sufferings
确实
that
实
are
的，不管叫谁说，这都
unchangeable.
是苦。
Whoever encountered
那
this
虚
would
苦呢，
consider this a
就
kind of
是
pain or
不一
suffering.
定。
And
比如
those
说你讽刺挖苦我
more
了，
fake
我
sufferings
可以
or
当回
so-called
事，
sufferings,
令我
it's
痛
like
苦。
sarcastic
还
or
有的人像心
you
胸大一些，
say
根本无
something
所
bad
谓，
about me.
也
Some
没这个
people
烦
might
恼。
think it's
所以这
suffering
个
or
虚苦
pain,
它
but
就
some
是
people maybe
有
have
这
a
种可
bigger
选
heart
择
and
性、
they
可
don't
分辨
mind.
性。
And so these
你可以当苦，可以当
pain
的
or
不苦。
suffering, you can either take it as a
好，我
suffering
先
or
说一下
not.
这个第一类的这个
And so
实苦。
I'm going
哪
to
些事
talk
情是实
first
苦呢？
those real, true pain and sufferings.
第一就是
So what are those?
孤儿，
First,
一
it's
生下来
like
就被抛弃了
orphans.
无父无母。
They don't have parents.
第
Or
二
they
呢，
were
就
born
是
and
出生之
be
后这个身体
left
先天的身体
without parents.
不那么完善
Or some people are born
比如
and
说身
with
体发育不
disabilities.
全，甚至
Maybe
智力不
they are
全，
paralleled
或
or
者
they
是
have
叫
mental
做
disorder
极度的丑陋，
or they're
就是你的
really
身体
ugly,
还有五官
not
就是
good
很扭
looking,
曲
or you know their
对，这种严
facial
重发育不全
organs
的。
are even twisted or
那么第三种就
deformed.
是这个
So this is a
贫穷。
misfortune. And the third one
你
is
出生在一
poverty.
个非常
If
贫苦的家
you
庭。
are born in a very poor family.
第四呢，就是
And then the fourth
你的生活环境就天灾人祸，什
the
么饥荒
environment. There are
战
lots of
争
natural
瘟
disasters
疫
or war
横事连连
or
的。
plague.
那第五呢，就是这个
And the
疾
fifth
病缠身
is a lot of
像这些
illnesses.
呢，我们都认为就
So
都算是实苦
these，are
就真真
what
实实的
we
苦。
say, what we call
那么
true
第二类的
and
实苦呢，实苦当中分两大类哈。
sufferings.
好，第二
And
类
so
实
the
苦呢，
second
讲亲人去世。
category, the second kind of suffering,
好，第二类实苦之中，第一个是亲人去世。
first,
那么第二个
their
呢，像失业、
loved ones or their families pass away, or
官司、
or the second
入监狱。
is that they lose job or they
赔了
were
钱。
put into prison or they
我们说的是严重的
lost
赔钱
money.
就是
I
倾
mean,
家荡产，没
seriously,
生活
it
费了。
means they
属于破
lost
产
a
性
lot so that they cannot
这里
even
的第三呢，就
make a
第二
living.
类苦之中的第三项，就像失恋、离婚。
The third one is that they
对，这个
lose
两大
their
类实
love,
苦
break up in a
还分轻重。
relationship and
所以
or
第一类的是
divorce.
最重的，
And so the
第二部
first
分呢就
is
是
the
轻一点，
most
就是次量级
serious,
的
and then the
苦
second is a little bit
好。
less serious.
那个实苦之后，我讲一下虚苦。虚看起来就是相对就是更轻一些，
What we say
相对是精神和判断中的一些问题。
well,
第一，
it's not
求不得。
fake, but I mean,
那佛
a
经里就说了
so-called
求不得
suffering.
苦。
The first
我
one
想
I
要
would
这个
say
要
is
那个
that I want something, but I
但是又
cannot
得不
get
到
it.
求不得。
Cannot
第二，
get
怕失
what
去。
one wants. The second is
大家可以想象哈，你哪些事你
fear
怕
of
失去了？
losing something.
你现在听我在上课，
So now
你想一下，
you're
你有没有怕
listening
失去
to
的东
my
西？
teaching and think about it,
第三呢，
whether you have something
爱
that
别离。
you're afraid of losing. And the third one
好，第
is
四，
separate
什
from
么
your
讽
loved
刺
ones.
挖苦污蔑
And the fourth is, you know,
讽刺挖苦
slander
污蔑
or
第五
harsh words or
嫉妒
the
怨恨
fifth
攀比。
is jealousy and
第六，打
and
击
hatred.
冤枉。
And the sixth is that other
对
people
第七
wrong you and
笼统的来说
say
就是贪
something
嗔痴
bad
慢疑。
about you. And so the seventh is the five poisons, which is
那这些事情，
greed,
凡是苦
anger,
的，谁都不希望
ignorance,
发生。
arrogance, and doubt.
尤其是像食苦，是吧？
So
食苦的
any
东
of
西
the
是我们最不
sufferings
乐意
are
去面对和接受
very,
它。
troublesome, and you don't want them,
但是
especially
呢，
the true sufferings, what we call
经历食苦的人，
unavoidable.
就
I
是当
mean,
我们说到一个叫
very
时空的
true
感觉啊，
and
时空
really
感觉。
suffers, really
而我们
painful.
很多朋友， 听
So
我这
there's
样
a
讲，
concept of time
有
and
些人
space.
就
Some
属于就
people
是食苦当中的人。
they do have those
比如说你生下来
real
就是孤儿，
sufferings. Say, for example, they were
或
born
遇到这个
orphan,
瘟疫、灾荒、
or
战争。
they
现在地球
encounter
上有一
those
些国家
natural
不是也是战争吗？
disasters
是
or
吧？
plague or
有些国家
war.
没有
And
战
and
争，但
nowadays
是
there's still
因为综
wars
合
in
原
the
因造
world,
成
and
的，就
in
是
some
非常的饥
people
寒
they
交
didn't
迫，就是很
encounter
贫苦。
wars, but they
对吧？
still have a
虽然有
life
父
with a
母，
lot
但是
of
养不起孩子，
poverty and a
得
lot
了
of
病看不起医生，
shortage of
读不了书，
things.
上不了
They
上
cannot
不
go
起
to
学，
school.
多了。还世界上还有很多国
They
家
don't
是
have
处在这个
money,
状态。
and a lot of people are actually in this state.
那我们今天想去，并不是说我们知识多，
Today
我们认识这个苦，还苦分了这么多层次。
You see,
我们
we
吃饱了
have
撑的
already
研究这玩意
divided
儿。
these sufferings into so many categories. Why should
那
we
的
do
目
that?
的是说，苦
The
你一定
purpose
会
of
发
doing
生。
this is
不
that
管
we
伟
want
人
to
还
show
是
you
老
that
百姓，
suffering
都是会
will
发生，一定
definitely
会发
happen.
生苦的
There's
这
no
些现象，
discrimination
还不
of
止一次。
greater
天天都有。
person or
人的这一生
ordinary person.
偶尔快乐也有啊，开个玩笑，看个
Well,
好电影，是吧？
occasionally you
也
would
有，但
have
是
some
其
pleasure,
实
like
烦恼的事每天都有，
going to see
困
a
扰你的
movie
事
or have some good food or
至
so
少
on,
是每个
whatever.
月都有。
But
这是一
almost
定的。
every day, or
所以你
at
看你
least
这
every
一天
month,
呐，
you have
你
something
这个
painful
心情的这个
happening.
情绪的起伏，
So
是吧？
every
都是
day
在
you
基于
have,
光线这个关系 啊，所以
your
我们这个
emotions are fluctuating
带来我们这个
those
情绪感受的东
up
西。
and downs, and
总的来说，苦的东西呢，是带给你的，就
so
是感受上来说，
those
是不乐意接受的。
sufferings are things
种
that
比如说
makes
是
you
味道的
feel
苦，
harsh and don't want to
烦，
accept, like
或者
it's
死，
bitter
饿，
or
病，
afflictions or
离， 失
or
去等
death
等这一切
or
的东西。
losing
带给你
something
这些
and
感
all
受。
of these things and bring that
那
feeling
我
of
们现在把它
pain.
想把它研究的透彻一些，
We want
就
to
是我们怎
thoroughly
样去面对。
investigate into this and how and
再
discuss
从，
about
因
how
为既然是
we
说苦，无论
should
对任何人都
deal
都是
with
一定
them,
会发
you
生的。
know, because everybody would have to
还有
encounter
甚至是彼此
sufferings.
羡慕。
And sometimes you
是吧？
would,
就是 家
see
庭聊
other
天的时候，
families or other
我们每个
people
人都想
are
过，你
better.
看看，
You see,
你看人家老李家、
sometimes you
老
say,
王家
oh,
多
look
好
at
啊！
Mr. Li's
但是老
family
李家、老
or
王家
Mr.
呢，
Wang's family.
等
They're
他
so
们碰
good,
过苦
but
过、吵完架之后，也会
when
想，
they
你看老张家多好啊！
have
也
already
会
had
彼此
those
羡慕。
fights
你
and
觉得他的好的原因是你
poverties,
没
and
有
then they would say,
参与他
oh,
们家的
this
烦恼和
other
吵架。
family is good. You
所以你
see
不知道
that
他家
his family is
也有
better
烦恼。
is because you
啊，
only
无
see
论
the
谁
good
家
part of
都有
it.
烦恼。
Actually, every family
只是
has their
听说
problems.
他们挺
It's
好，
just that
听说
you,
他们
you
挺有
know,
钱的，
from what you
他
hear
们挺
that
幸
they
福的，都
seems
是
to
听
be
说来的，
happy.
是一种猜
So
测。
it's just a assumption.
所以俗话说哈，就
And
家
so
家有
that's
本难
why
念的经。
the Chinese old
还有今
saying
天我们可以
goes
发
like
展的来说，
every
就是
family
人人
has
有本
their
难念的经。
has
谁
their
都不容易。
problems, and even everybody has their problems or issues.
当我们学会了去
And
认识
so
苦，
when we
更重
learn
要的是认识
to
苦之后，我们
understand
怎么解决
sufferings,
这个问题，
and more importantly is how to
就
deal
是
with
找到一
these
个方法，
problems and sufferings.
让我
We
们
need to
更接近于
find
真
a
理，
way so that we can be
更接近
closer
于
to choose.
去
And
有苦、
when
用苦
there's suffering,
来
then
成就自己。
we can utilize these
就是用苦
sufferings
来成就自己。
to help us to
这个可能是很多
have
人并没有想
even
到的。
better accomplishments. Maybe a lot of
笼统
people
来
has
说，
never thought
就
about
是
that.
说，
So in general,
当你看就是比喻来说，
as an
现实当
analogy
中，
in our
比如说
real life,
爱睡懒觉的
those people who
时
like
候，
to
是当温暖的时候，是吧？被窝里
stay
暖
in
洋洋
bed,
的，
and you know it's
屋里
very
也暖洋洋的。
warm
很多人
inside
在这种时
on
候
the bed.
就
It's
乐意睡
so
个懒觉，是
cozy,
吧？
and so
温暖
people
了。
like to sleep in
嗯，
because it's
思
very
饮食，
warm.
思睡眠，
They like
会
good
产生
food.
更多
They
的
like
想
to
法、欲望等
sleep,
等。
and they have a lot of other desires too
但是寒冷呢，
and
会
thoughts.
使人更
The
加
cold
冷静。
actually makes us
但是刚才说回温暖
more
的部分哈， 这
calm.
里头温暖的时候，实际上是你的
And
生活的环境当中的
the warmth
叫做
actually
金钱、能量等综合的好处
you know, you
是
have
比
all
较
the
多的时候，
benefits
这样
of
你可
you
以
know,
在这种状态下
energy,
是处于
and
叫
you
做
have more
我
energy, you
在
have more
享受
money,
生
and
活，
you feel like you're enjoying
你
life,
处在一种享受
and
的
you are in a
安逸的状态。
state of
我要
you
体
know,
悟生活，
comfort,
我
and
要
you
品尝这
are
杯咖啡，
tasting this
我
and
要尝一
enjoying
尝
this
这种
coffee.
巧克力，
I want to taste this chocolate.
我要
I
尝试一下
want
那样的菜
to
怎么吃。
try that
对，
dish.
他在这种享受的
And
生
so
活里
in
头
this very
哎，
enjoyable
对，
kind
往
of
往呢
state,
是没有动能，
usually you don't have
但是
any
呢有消
motivation,
耗能，
but
或者叫
you
能消
are
耗。
consuming.
因为你在
You're
你有
very
的时
good
候
at， consuming.
其实你是变着法儿的在
Because
所
when
谓
you have a lot
享
of
受
good
生
things,
活。
you
享
start to
受生活的时候也
enjoy
叫做
life.
消耗资源，
And
对不对？
when you're
或者叫
enjoying
刻意
life,
消
you're
耗资源。
actually
因为我
consuming
要享受生
your
活，
resources
所以
because
我
you
呢，我爱
need
喝
to
酒，我就买点酒。
enjoy life. You like
但是
to
我钱又比较
drink, so
多，
you
我
buy
喝酒，所以
alcohol.
我既然那么有
And if
钱，
you
我还
have
买贵的酒。
money, then or even a lot of money, then you buy
我爱
expensive
吃巧克力，
alcohol. You like
买
chocolate.
便宜的也是
And
买，贵
well,
的
you
也是
can
买。我
buy
钱多的话，
inexpensive
我就
ones or
买贵的。
expensive ones. If you have a lot of
所以很
money,
多
then
有
you'll
钱
buy
人就
more
说
expensive
哪个
ones.
是最贵的？
And some
到
people
哪个
with
商店都是这
more
样。
money, they
你
would
是
say,
我们华人有
which
的
is the
钱特
most
别牛，
expensive?
哪个
And
是最贵的？
especially
他不管
Chinese.
合不合脚，
And
不管合不合你的
they
嘴。
don't even care whether
都是
it
最贵
suits
的，
them. They just try
是吧？
to find the most
买麻
expensive
药也
one,
是哪个是最贵的？
even
把
anesthetic.
麻死算
And
了。
then they would
就是要
they
最
would try
贵
to
的。
find the most
这些人笑话。
expensive and even
但事实上，
overdose.
有了钱的人往往
Just
都是这样
joking.
的。
And
他就是其
so
实叫
people
做
with a lot of money, they're sometimes like
刻意
this.
的
And
在
so
消耗你的资源，
they're like
消耗金钱，消耗能量。
intentionally
就是你的钱财
using
也
their
是你的综
money.
合能量，
And so your money
对吧？
is
所以你
also
有了
part
之
of
后，你就
your
要去付出，
energy. And
去
so when
消
you
耗掉。
have it, you want
但什么
to
时候是创造
spend
的时
it.
候呢？
You want to consume it.
就
But
饥
when
寒交
you
迫的时候，
when would you create?
要
It's
穿的
only
没有，
when
我很
you
冷
are cold
啊，
and
要买
hungry.
饭没钱，
You don't have clothes
没有
and you
的
want
时
to
候，
buy food,
人
but
就
you
是
don't
这
have
样的。
money.
当
And
没
so
有了
when
就
you
是创
don't
造。
have anything,
虽然羡
then you
慕和
would
憎
want
恨
to
一
do
切有钱
something,
人，
even though
但是
you're
虽然
really
这个观点不对哈，不对也
jealous
能产生，
about other people having so
但是会
much,
激发创造性。
but that
不要
really,
直白的创造
you
性
know,
是偷去抢，
motivates
是
you.
吧？所以很多当
Some
贫穷的
people,
时候，你们
they're
富我穷，
you
所
see,
以这个
some
时候
people
谁
see
就
other
产生了
people are very rich
不
and
要
they're
文
very
雅一
poor,
点，
and
我
then
看你
they
人不在，我把你东
then
西拿走，我
thieves,
先用去。
you know,
这个是我觉
are
得这是动物的
generated,
规律，
or,
而不是
and,
人的规
but
律，
that's the
也并
rule
不是犯
for
罪心态，
for animals.
是吧？
It shouldn't be
只是
for
人把它
human
列
beings.
为了这是一种
But
犯罪，这是犯法。
so and then
这是
human
人类
beings
共
consider
同遵循
robbing
的
or
一些
stealing
要
as
求
a crime,
准
and
则
so they set up some
对
regulations to
所以自
prevent
然会
this.
产生。
And so these
我们
would
说了，今天既然规定了说，哎，去
kind
偷
of
去抢，
naturally happen.
这是犯法的，
And
抓住啊
if，they
哎，一顿死打。
steal or
更痛
something like
苦，
that, if
付
they
出的
are
更
caught,
多。
then they would
这
be
怎么办呢？
hit
在
and
不
they
犯法
would
的情况下，
even be put
我再去
into
创造
a。prison. That so in order not to
其实
break
是
the
当
law,
贫寒
then
时，
they need
而
to
你们都有，我没有，
they need
会
to
激
create
发，会
something.
刺激我们去
If
创造。
other people have and you don't have, and
对
it
所以因为你
really
没有，因为
stimulates
你
you
没有可
to
消耗的
do
资源，
something because you don't
因为你
have
没
the
有可以
resources
借鉴的
because
资
you
源，
don't
对吧？
you
比如
cannot
说你二
even
舅是个有
use
钱人，
something.
你
Say, for
父母亲
example,
是个
your
穷人，
uncle is poor and your
往往是
parents
家里
are
有个父
poor.
亲戚，
but you have
虽
a
然距离
relative
有
who
点远
is rich,
人
even
还总有
though
一种这依赖心理，
they're
万一
not
他
very
借给我
close to
钱
you,
呢？
and then
万一他给
you're
我机
thinking,
会呢？
oh,
哎，还会有这样的
maybe
依
he
赖心
would
理。最后发现二舅
lend money to me.
根本不
But
帮你
then
怎么办？
he found And then you found the
只有靠自己
uncle
去
don't
赚
help you at all, don't lend you money, and
但
then
是无
you
论怎
have
样
to work hard yourself.
贫穷
Whatever it
冷
is,
酷就是苦，我要吃
poverty,
的没有，穿的没有，
and you know those
要
sufferings,
消费
no
根本就
food,
没
no
钱，
clothes,
别说
no
奢侈性消
money,
费，连
and
基本的消费
well,
和养
not
活自己都
even
很困难的时候，
basic,
往往
you
创造
know,
力都是被激发出
consumption.
来的。
You don't have, let alone
这就是我的一
luxuries.
个总结的概念嘛。
And so then you have to
所以把这样的这个所谓
And so
缺少资源、缺少能量的这个状态，
you want to
带给我们叫
change,
无限的
you
压
know,
力。
that
但
lack
是
of energy,
往往
lack
是
of
压
money,
力
lack of
而产生
resources
动力，
actually is
往往是压力产生动力。
forcing us to have
这样。
that motivation. So what I
当
would
钱多
say
了之后，
is
你不管做什么
this
事情，
pressure actually
尤其让你
generates
付
the
出很多
motivation.
能量、力量的时
Especially
候，
you
有
need
钱人不
to
会去做。
you need to
去做的
put
都
some
是
energy,
你
put
都是
some,
些没钱
you
的。
know,
比如说
force
很多运
and
动
work
员，
hard.
运动员就要运
People
动嘛，
when
是
they
不
are
是？
very
就是
rich,
简
then
单
they
运
won't
动，
want to do it.
我就
Say
健
for
身，
example, those
天天
sportsmen,
一练8个小时，一练就10年，这个不叫健身啊，这叫伤害。
they actually
那什么家的孩
you
子去
know
比赛呢？
practice for 8 hours or something. It's
至少
actually
是不
not
宽裕的
good
教
for
育。
health.
因为你每
It
天这
sometimes
样
can be
的
harmful to
比
health.
赛的状态
But
实际上
people
是对
from
身体本身的折磨。
poorer families,
你可以成为世
they're
界冠军，
actually kind of
但是
they
多少人
may
是没有成
become
为世界
a
冠军，
champion
身体已经
of the
严重
world,
的受伤受
but
损。
they are actually bringing harm to their body
那么
because
什么人乐
they
意
are
付出这个劳动
trained
呢？不
excessively.
是相对贫苦家的，你家
So
里父母亲都很
usually
有钱，
people from
看到孩
poorer
子的训练你
families,
舍
they
不
might
得，
want to do it.
你孩子自己也会跑回家来。
Richer
所以
families,
网友
if
朋
you
友们，
see that
你
the
家里还
child
有点
is
钱
trained
哈，你的孩子要
excessively,
学的是不要付
overly
出体力的，
trained,
你
then
放
you
心，
don't want
不到
them
半年
to
时
be
间他
like
自己
that.
跑回家来，
Or they
他不会受
themselves
那个
would
苦
come
的，
back. So
因
if
为
your
他有
family
个
is
福报。
rich,
所以他不会
then
受那个。
even if you send your child to such
所以你
a
就看到
training
那些世界冠军
facility, he would
为啥
come
拼了
back
吗？
maybe
因
after
为
a few
贫穷，
months.
因为贫
Those
穷
world
才跑得快，
champions,
跳得高，
do you know
是吧？
why
能说会道，
they can be champions?
能蒙带
Because
骗。
because
但
of their
这本
poverty,
身就是
because
创
I
造。
mean, because
当
their
然，我这是
conditions are
话
not
当
so
中是比较
good,
粗俗
and so
的，
they have to.
但是这一切的
I'm
行
sorry,
径
it might not
源
be that
源于创造。
appropriate, but
但
it's
创造之
because
中
of
有的是文明的，
harder
有的是暴
conditions
力
that
的，
they
有
have
的是
that
犯罪，
motivation that they want to run faster, they want to do
就是
better.
这么一个概念。我给大家举一些历史名人的，
I'd
因为
like
贫
to
寒，
give you some
过去还讲贫寒出
examples
孝子啊，
of some
是吧？
celebrities,
啊，
some
贫寒的
prominent
人，
people.
后来
Some
不
people
但不
they
贫
were
寒，后来还
very
很了不
poor
起
when they were
啊。
young, and then not only they are
给大家
not
讲的
poor
第一个人
anymore, they're
就是刘
very
邦，
famous.
现
The
在已经
first
2000年前了。
person,
刘
a
邦，
first story I'm going
他
to
就
tell
出
is
生
about
在
Liu
一
Bang.
个农民家庭。
He was born in a farmer's family.
一般的农民家庭
You
不
know,
会太富，
usually
他
these
只是一个不安分的农民。
families are not
一个
very
爱喝
rich.
酒，爱吃
He
牛，
was
说
just
话不靠谱。
like
他
alcohol,
对他
and
满
he
脑子
wants
都是
to.
一些
He's quite
农村这
talkative.
个村子里头关不住他这个人。
He's like that village is too small for him. Well,
不靠谱。
of course, we know later that he became the emperor, but at the beginning, he liked to eat, he likes to talk, he likes to fight with other people. He sometimes will help others to fight, but
可是在有一年呢，哎，
one year,
看到了，当时他小时候。
by accident, I mean, he saw, you know, when he was a child, at that time, the emperor was the first emperor of country Qing, so it's called Qing Shi Huang, and he was very, very famous, and he had 7 countries before, and then this first emperor of Qing united all 7 countries, and so he all 7 countries belonged to him. And once this first emperor of Qing went to Shandong province, and Liu Bang saw his troops, like thousands of soldiers and horses, and he saw that their horses are all matched, their shining weapons and uniforms, and like when he saw the front of the troop, and he couldn't even see the end. It was just so many people, and he saw this Qin Shi Huang with a very long beard and with a lot of bodyguard and soldiers to protect him, and everybody is afraid of him. Ordinary people couldn't even look at him, and because when usually people would avoid his troops and avoid him, and like maybe 1 kilometer away to leave the road to him. If they cannot avoid the troop, then they would have to kneel down and look down to the ground. And then Liu Bang saw this and thought, wow, this is like so powerful. And so after, like for many days, he was thinking about that, and he thought, this is what a man should be like, and my whole life should work towards that. And so he had such a goal, even though not very clear. So long story short, this first emperor of Qing, he united the 7 countries. But those people who, even though they were defeated, especially those nobles in those countries, they actually turned from noble to an ordinary citizen, and they cannot control the country. And so there are many people who wanted to rebel. And so there are lots of uprisings, and Liu Bang also followed the flow and also joined the uprising and rebel. And then he fight and fight and fight until he became the emperor. And he also defeated his strongest competitor, who is Shang Yu, and he became the first emperor of Han Dynasty. So we call him Han Gaozu, the founder and first emperor of the Han Dynasty. So this is not a make-up story. This is from the history. This is the true story. And so from his childhood poverty and until he became the first emperor of the Han Dynasty, and very outstanding. And Chinese people, sometimes we call ourselves Han people. It's because it actually originates from here, this Han Dynasty. And usually you say, which nation are you from? The Chinese people say, we're from Han. Well, except those Islamic, the minorities. Except those minorities, the majority of the Chinese are the Han people. And it goes all the way till now. And so I guess his education probably is just that he can write his name. I would say it might be even difficult for him to write a note. He hadn't had high education because he was just a peasant. But because of his talent and because he was born in such a historical time, and his lack of education didn't affect him to become the emperor. And the second story is about Zhu Yuanzhang, who is 600 years ago, and the first emperor of the Ming Dynasty. So Zhu Yuanzhang actually had suffered from many, many different kinds of sufferings. Among those 10 sufferings, he actually had most of the sufferings. He was born in a peasant's family too, and he was also one of the poorest peasant family because they don't have their own land, and his parents had to work for the landlord. And so they have to work for others, and they don't have their own land. And he was like, they were like immigrants. And so they went to a place originally they cannot live in their hometown, so they moved to another place and immigrated. And so after the immigration, they don't have land, and so how can they survive without land? So they have to work for a landlord who has a lot of land, and therefore they can get some food from this landlord. And his parents had 4 sons and 1 daughter, and at that time, it was the later time of Yuan Dynasty. Politically, it was quite chaotic, and there are a lot of rebellions, a lot of uprisings, and at the same time, there are lots of natural disasters. Usually, when they're after the natural disaster, they will have wars or rebellions. So, say if we have this plague, and then if the government didn't have good governing or ruling, and then if there's no medicine, no water, and then the whole society would be chaotic. And so at that time, it was very chaotic, and in addition to the natural disaster, some places they have drought, and then they couldn't have any crops. And other places, there too much rain, and so they also cannot have harvest, and they don't have food, so what can they do? So then they would rebel, and then they would just took the food from the government. And so when Zhu Yuanzhang was a child, and at that time there was also plague, and there were also war. And so Zhu Yuanzhang's family, I remember that there were 3 family members died. His mother, his elder brother, and who else? Oh, his father. His parents and plus his brother all died. And they died of the plague. And how poor were they? After they die, they don't even have a coffin to bury them. And it was only a kind neighbor who gave them something to put their dead body in. And so after he buried his parents and brother, he didn't have a place to go. And there was a Buddhist temple. There were quite some Buddhist temple, because Buddhism promotes compassion. So he went to the temple and he became a monk. And so in ancient times, after the war and after these pandemic, then they don't have a place to go. They don't have food, so they go to the temple and become a monk. Let's forget about their true intention of cultivation. At the very beginning, they have to survive first, and they need to find food. And then, for Zhu Yuanzhang, very luckily, or no, well, it happened that his friend asked him to go to join the uprising army. Whether he goes there or not, he actually invited him not to go to the government army. He's inviting him to go to the uprising army, the rebellion army. And whether he go or not, it's very dangerous. And eventually he decided to go there to the rebellion army. And then finally he succeeded and established the Ming Dynasty. And so that was the new dynasty. He was the founder and the first emperor of the Ming Dynasty, and he's called Ming Tai Emperor, Ming Tai Zu, or Hongwu Emperor. The Chinese emperors, every emperor, they will have a name for his reign. And so, like for Zhu Yuanzhang, for all the years when he was the emperor, it's called Hongwu. So the first year he was the emperor, it's the Hongwu first year, and then Hongwu second year, and then Hongwu third year, something like that. And then the last emperor of Ming Dynasty was Chongzheng emperor, and then the Qing Dynasty took over, and so it's actually very close to nowadays. So see, he was born in a poor family when he was only 9 years old or 10 years old. His parents died, brother died, and he was homeless until at the end he became the most powerful emperor. And who can be even happier than him? All those happy children, when they get up, they don't look at the children now. How many children will get up without their parents to call them? And how many children will wash their clothes themselves? I don't want to, blame you, young people, but let's continue our stories. Now let's talk about the story of Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln was the 16th president of the United States. If you look at the bill of the US dollar, then you'll see Lincoln's image on some of the bills. President Lincoln, among all the presidents, he was recognized as the most welcoming, I think the number 1 or number 2, the most welcomed and beloved president of the United States. And he contributed a lot for the establishment of the United States. He abolished the slavery and set free the slaves. A lot of the black people are from most of them are from Africa. I don't know how they went to the United States. And those they went to the farms first and became farmers. I think the earlier years in the United States, they have a lot of land and they have nobody there to working on the land. And so they try to find those slaves to work on the lands. I think that they go to Africa and maybe they buy those slaves to come and work in their lands. And so it's like but all these slaves are all controlled. The slave owner, controlled by the slave owner or the slaveholder. Sometimes they work in the farm, and some of them work as the caregiver, like help with the housework or like a nanny. But most important, mainly those slavery, they don't have their human rights. So the slave owners, they have all kinds of rights. They can have the right of election. They have all kinds of rights. But the slaves, they don't have any human rights. Even though they are human beings, but they are not treated as human beings. And sometimes the slave owner, they have their own punishments, and some bad-tempered slave owners very terribly punish their slaves, and so the slaves don't have their dignity, they don't have their rights. And if they want to flee, then they would even shoot them and kill them. I don't know much about the details. You can Google them online. But President Lincoln, once he took office, he solved the problem. He completely abolished slavery. As long as you are a human being, whatever color of your skin, you have the equal rights, equal human rights. And he accomplished that. You know, if the history is always like that, those who reform is very, very outstanding. It's not easy. It's very difficult. But President Lincoln did that and succeeded. And so his parents, talking about his life, his parents are from England, and then they had a lot of land. They immigrated from Europe. His father was, exploring the land and also make a living on hunting. Well, even when they were in England, they were not very rich. And then his parents moved to the United States, and he was born in America. Only when he was 9 years old, his mother passed away. So we talked about the 10 sufferings. One of them is their loved ones die, and so his mother passed away very early. Usually, mother take an important role in bringing up a child. Usually, children cannot live without their mom, but his mother died very early. Of course, usually people would think this will bring a lot of harm and suffering to the 9-year-old Lincoln. Of course, he was very sad, but what positive thing that this brought to him is that he became more independent and resilient. And so he doesn't rely on other people. And he has such a, environment. He had to work, all kinds of housework, washing clothes or cutting firewood or all kinds of housework. And so that's why he started to learn letters when he was 15 years old. Nowadays, if you're 15 years old, you're probably in high school or even you're in high school. And so, and he was very poor. He cannot afford to buy the textbook. And at that time in the United States, the school would not offer any free books to him. And so he would borrow his classmates' book, and then he would hand copy the textbook and then sew the paper together and make that into a book. And even though he didn't have that, condition or the ability to buy the book, but he actually learned even harder. And so he was like that. And so his formal school education was only altogether 1 whole year. Only 1 year altogether. So look at his education. That's his formal school education. And nowadays, look at our university graduates or even graduate school graduates. And some people even are afraid of going out to find a job because it's too challenging outside. And Lincoln had a lot of suffering. He didn't even have a place to cry. The world doesn't believe in his tears, and the only thing he can do is to work hard and work harder. And he really loved reading. He read many different kinds of books. Among the books that he read about American history. Well, American history wasn't very long by the time when he was a child. And then after he read the history of America, he started to have interest in politics, and very strong interest in politics. In order for him to do something about politics and to bring some change to the country, he studied very hard about law, and he taught himself. And so he learned a lot about the law of land. And when he was very young, even younger than 20 years old, some village neighbors would invite him to resolve some conflicts about the land. And so he knows a lot, and he learned a lot about the law of land. And after he was over 20 years old, let's see how his life, his happy life, was like. When he was 22 years old, first time for him to do business, a failure. A failure means he would lose money. When he was 23 years old, because he has interest in politics, he ran for not senator, but state governor, but he a state councilor, and then he failed. And then he thought, oh, maybe I'm not good at business, or maybe not good at politics, because usually people, when they were young, they don't know what they're good at. So whenever they had a failure, usually they would think that they're not good at it. And so he thought he wanted to do business again, and he borrowed money from his friend. He lost all the money and failed again. When he was 24 years old, he lost about maybe 10 or 20,000 years old. And it took him 14 years to return all the money. And so investment is not an easy thing. So very risky. So make sure when you make investments, always think about the risk. Don't always think about the success of investment. And then when he was 26 years old, and when he was 26 years old, he ran for the senator or the councilor again, and then his fiancée died. Well, he succeeded in that. He succeeded in the running counselor, but his fiancée died. And then it was such a shock for him. He completely lost control. He lied on bed for 6 months. And then when he was 34 years old, he started again. At that time, he was the counselor of the state, and then he ran for senator, but then he failed. And then 39 years old, he failed in running for continuing the position. And then he applied for a position and was refused. That was a position of the director of the Bureau for the land, for the whole state. And when he was 46 years old, he ran for senator. And then 49 years old, he ran for senator again and failed again. So 2 failures for running for senator. But eventually, he succeeded in running for the presidency. He had 2 business failures, 8 failures for political running. And his wife gave him 4 sons, but 3 of them died very early, died when they were young. Well, at that time, it was because of lack of medicine, and also because he was quite cold, and his wife was also very weak and not very healthy, because his first fiancée died, and then finally he got married, and his wife delivered 4 children, but 3 of them died very early, and his mother also died very early. Well, his greatest achievement is that and so the African American actually really liked him because he abolished the slavery. So he's a very outstanding president of the United States. But he was born in such a very, poor family, and had a lot of sufferings in his childhood. His mother died very early, and he had only 1 year of school education. And when he was in school, he cannot even afford to buy textbooks. And we talked about the 10 true sufferings. He had so many failures in election, but he was very, very resilient. Every time, he never gave up. As long as he still is alive, he continues to strive for it and make efforts. And finally, he succeeded. And he was very courageous and very creative and very resilient. So because of all these sufferings, and the sufferings actually turned into motivations. And because he never gave up, that helped him to eventually succeed. Okay, Joyce. Well, Grandmaster, you mentioned Lincoln. He was born from a poor family and had lots of sufferings, but he didn't give up because of the sufferings, but he actually used these sufferings to stimulate himself. And he had a partner in running the election. His partner, I think, Douglas, he was very wealthy, and he has very luxurious car. And whenever he drive the car, and then the car would also pull a cannon, and the cannon would even, have 32 cannons, 32 strikes. But Lincoln only has a horse ride cart, and wherever he goes, he would be very kind to people. And so people ask him, "What is your reason for running?" And so at that time, he still had 3 sons. He said, "I have only 1 wife and 3 children, and I have only an office with a table and a bookshelf with many, many good books. That's all my assets, and all I have is actually you, my people." And so he doesn't consider these sufferings as painful, but he actually thinks that he's fine with it. He's even proud of it, and he utilized these sufferings. And so he actually, that's how he eventually gain and succeed in election. I would like to add a little bit more to Joy's comments, and it's because of his setbacks. It actually helped him to understand better sufferings. And so he would feel more real when he see other people's sufferings, and he would know better what everybody needs and what everybody, especially when everybody is having sufferings. And when he was the president, he would understand better what people would want, and so what he can do. And I also remember Zhu Yuanzhang. He was very well, he was also born in a poor family, and very poor family. And you know, those local officials, he knows very well how local officials should treat their subordinates. And so when Zhu Yuanzhang became the emperor, he knows exactly how he should rule and required these local officials to do. And whether to be a president or an emperor, you need to know the sufferings of everyone. So then you would, you know, establish the principles and rules, so to help all the, you know, the people to have a better life. And so the previous emperors, they actually didn't, the people at that time, they didn't have a good life. But when Zhu Yuanzhang became the emperor, his people had much better life. He had lots of reforms, and all the benefits would actually be truly given to everyone. And the money that are given to everyone would truly be given to their hands. Before, it was like the government said, okay, if the government wants to give everyone 100 pounds of food, then the officials probably will only give them like maybe 10 pounds, and all the officials would take the most of it. And so those who were born in poor families actually knows better about everyone's sufferings and pain, and therefore they can do better to make their life good. Okay, I think that's all for President Lincoln. He's a great president. In the future, if we have time, we can tell more about his story and his legends even. And now my analysis about the real suffering and not so real suffering. And so now we're going to talk about not very real suffering, and someone who had encountered that kind of suffering. So let's talk about a story. It was in the wartime. It was the a very famous person in the wartime. He's Su Qin. Do you know who is his teacher? Oh, that's Gui Gu Zi, who is very well known to everyone. And his students, including Sun Bing, Pang Juan, Gui Gu Zi is such a renowned teacher, extremely knowledgeable. And so Su Qin was born in a peasant's family too, and he was very diligent and loved to read, and he went everywhere to learn from people. And he felt that he was already very knowledgeable and resourceful. You know, for farmers, they don't really need to read too much. Maybe his family has a little bit more land, and so he can have some time to read and learn. And the first time, he already learned something, and he felt that he's already learned a lot, and he is already very knowledgeable and very wise, and so he wanted to go and find a job in the government. And so he went to talk to the king of Qin, the country of Qin, and his parents borrowed money for him, and his friends lent money to him, and so he borrowed a lot of money and give him the money and hope that he would be promoted to, he would get a high position in the government. But after a long time, and he asked his friend to persuade the king, and all his opinions hasn't been adopted by the king. I believe many kings are very smart. When people are making suggestions, and if the boss, they didn't take it, most likely it's because the suggestions are not good enough and cannot match what the king needs. There are actually 10 times he made suggestions, but the king didn't take them. For 10 times. It's not that the king doesn't like them, it's just that they're not practical. And he was actually recommended by many officials. But you know, he used, for all these time, he used all his money, all the money that he borrowed, and he didn't even got any position in the government. And then he had to go back home. He used up all his money. He was like, he had those political ambitions. Usually, those people who have more knowledge, sometimes because they are rich spiritually, and then they usually don't really care much about their external appearances. And especially because the king didn't appreciate his suggestion and didn't give him a position. And so when he went back home, just imagine his energy level and his, he didn't, at that time there was no plane, there was no car. He either walked home or either took a cart. And just imagine the smell on his body, and in the country there are lots of dust and mud, and so his whole face might be covered with mud. And so at the time when he get home, his wife didn't even leave the bloom to welcome him, and his sister-in-law thought like, oh, how come you come back? And his parents didn't even talk to him. And at night he went to see his father and want to have food with his father, and he offered wine to his father. First, of course, his elder brother offered wine to his father, and his father said, this is good wine. Because his elder brother, worked hard at home. And then Su Qin followed his elder brother and offered the wine, and his father said, how come this wine is so disgusting? It's sour. And then Su Qin thought, oh, maybe my wine is not very good. Oh, see, my father praised my elder brother. Maybe my elder brother has good wine. So he borrowed some wine from his elder brother and offered his father. But his father said, no, this is even worse. And then Su Qin were still in his political ambitions and thinking about managing the whole country. And so he didn't even think why his father still didn't like it. And so he asked his father, "Oh, father, I took the wine actually from my brother's, bottle." And then his father said, "Whatever good thing, if it's in your hand, then it will go bad." This is his biological father. So if you always use a lot of money, if you always use money and use up all the money of the family, and you even bring hardship to the family, his parents didn't blame him, but of course they're not happy. Of course, it's not like when he has a good position and he can be very famous. I would imagine that his parents would definitely ask, "Well, how come you go out and, you said you already learned all the ways to manage the country, and you said the king would really appreciate this. How come the king didn't appreciate at all?" And so the whole family analyzed for him, and so they said, "Most likely it's because you are not that good yet. You're not that knowledgeable yet. You need to really, we shouldn't be like that. You're not that knowledgeable yet. Don't always ask us to borrow money for you to get a position." And actually, his parents are right. He has already had some, he's already on the way, on the right path, and already started to learn some ways to manage the country. But he hasn't learned that thoroughly. So after all these failures, he completely calmed down and very, modestly learn from Gui Gu Zi and learn very diligently. And that is why, maybe most of the Chinese know that very famous story about learning diligently. He was learning so diligently. In order for him to in the winter it's very cold, and sometimes at night he would be very sleepy when he was reading, and in order for him to keep alert, he would use an owl to hit his thigh so that he can keep awaking. And so that became one of the most famous story when people are teaching about diligence in learning. And so after he had studied so hard for a few years, eventually he succeeded in persuading all the kings, and it was when he expressed his ideas to 6 or 7 kings. It was very rare in the history. He alone, at the same time, he was the prime minister of all 6 countries. You cannot imagine what way he has used, even though I have already known, but I cannot tell you. But the result is that he became the prime minister of 6 countries at the same time. And he had such, well, in this way, his authority is almost matching the king's rights and authorities and power. And once again, he went back home. Would you think that his wife and his sister-in-law would still look down upon him? No, they all kneel down and on the ground and dare not even look at him. So let's not quarrel or argue about whether we should. And so let's talk about if you have any setbacks and if you have any failures, would you still go forward? Would you give up or would you go forward? So for Su Qin, before he succeed, he was just like that, very like a beggar. He used up all the money, and the whole family blamed him because he was supposed to do big achievements, and so ordinary people cannot have such wisdom. And so there's an old saying, if they do not succeed, they would only succeed. They would be having tremendous success. And so when you have setbacks, you should continue. You should be resilient and not give up and keep going and eventually achieve that success and have a bright future.
Let me tell you now the story of someone that all Chinese people know. The story is about the king of state Yue.
越王勾践的故事，这越王勾践离现在已经2500多年了。
This happened about 2,500 years ago in the Ottoman Spring Warring period. At that time, there are many small states in China, and there is a state of Yue, and the neighbor of state Yue is state Wu. State Wu started a war against state Yue and defeated the state Yue, and even the king of state Yue, Gou Jian, even he was imprisoned. At that time, the king of Wu said that although you are my prisoner, I am still a kind person. You used to be the king of state Yue, and so although you are my prisoner, you can live in this beautiful room, in this beautiful palace. And although King Gou Jian, although he was defeated and captured, he's awakened. He realized that now he is a servant, and he doesn't have a servant himself anymore. And he is. And why would you give a prisoner, a servant, a very nice room to live in? I don't want to live in such a nice room. I will just live in a hut. A hut is a small room made by straws, and peasants live in such huts. And so Gou Jian denied the king of Wu, so he didn't live in such a nice house. And he tried to remind himself that he wants to revenge and win his state back. And so Gou Jian hung a piece of gallbladder onto the ceiling, and so that every morning he would wake up and lick the gallbladder and taste the bitterness, so that he can be reminded that he lost his state and cost many soldiers' lives. And he has and when he was captured by the state of Wu, he has ashamed all the citizens of state Yue. And so the king Gou Jian made an aspiration that he wants to make it back to his own state and regain his power. He wants to separate and restart the state of Yue again. And so he secretly made an aspiration that and he even tried to contact his ministers, his chancellors, and his generals when the king of Wu is not careful. And he actually did it. He was able to start war with the king of Wu again, and he actually defeated the king of Wu and regained control over the state of Yue. He wasn't born with suffering. The king, Gou Jian, he was born into a very wealthy family, and he became the king. He is like the president. He is very wealthy, a very young king who succeeded the throne from his father. What does he know? It is a very safe environment for him, and he can indulge himself. But after he became a prisoner of the Wu state, he is alerted. He starts to set a goal. It's only when he lost it, then he realized how much he should have cherished it. When he was the king of Yue, he doesn't realize how cherishable his life is. Only when he has become the prisoner, he realizes that he should have cherished the time that he was the king and cherished the life he had. That's why he set a goal to regain control of the Yue state. So King Gou Jian, he is a very famous king recorded in the Chinese history, a very successful king. Although he was defeated very young, and although he was imprisoned and became a servant of another state, he was able to re-establish his state. Although he was defeated, he is also awakened. So we need to think. People who were born in poverty, people whose parents passed away, or kings that have been defeated, all of these experiences are very difficult. These are sufferings. When we talk about the 8 worldly winds, there are four good feelings, and there are also 4 bad feelings. So today we're talking about the sufferings, the pains, whether it's realistic pains or unrealistic pains. They all give us a sense of defeat. But what about after the defeat? It also gives us infinite amount of drive. It allows us, it gives us power for our entire life. It's endless energy. So my summary is that if you are successful without being defeated, your success might not last. If the heaven favors you, maybe some people don't understand it. If the heaven likes you, the heaven will let you experience pain first, experience sufferings. If you cannot pass this test, you will not be able to realize your life's mission. If you are suffering, but you sank yourself in the suffering, and you don't want to go forward, these people are very pitiful. If you are such a person, don't be jealous of other people. But what type of person does heaven likes? The heaven likes people who changes suffering into sweetness. Such people are awe-inspiring. When the heaven is about to confer a great responsibility on a person, it will first fill his heart with suffering, toil his bones and muscles, expose his body to hunger, and subject him to extreme poverty. Only then, maybe one day, you can be successful. If you have never experienced the suffering of poverty, how do you know to cherish the wealth you have today? If you were born into a wealthy environment, the only thing you can do is to burn away your money, spend it all out. You will not create any money, but spend it all. Because of the pain brought about by poverty, then such people understand that they need to create. In my generation, people who are older than me, we have all suffered. And that's why in the past 30 years, there are many successful businessmen like Jack Ma. It's all people who started out with no money, like Wang Jianlin, like Dong Mingzhu. Such people, Dong Mingzhu even started just as a salesman, and then she became a millionaire. It all started because of the suffering of poverty. Only then we understand how important wealth is. Only because we don't have it, that's how we can understand the beauty of having it. When you're born into a wealthy environment, when you have everything, you don't understand the pain of poverty, and that's why you spend everything and you use everything you have until you have nothing. So in truth, suffering gives us power, gives us power to leap forward. So we should be able to take suffering and use it as comparison. If a child has never lived in poverty before, it's very difficult to to tell him what poverty is. The child that is born in a wealthy environment doesn't care what money is. In this world, what is good? Buddha Sakyamuni, why does he tell us that sometimes why does Buddha Sakyamuni tells us that we cannot depend on our five senses? Sometimes these senses are not real. A person's life is limited. If you cannot see things across time and space, if you are only indulging yourself in the wealthy life now, maybe misfortune is coming close to you. When you are suffering, maybe fortune, auspiciousness is walking toward you. Today, I read something online. In Singapore, there is an athlete. What's her name? 叶品秀。
她还有这个她得那个病是什么来着？不是肌无力，萎缩，肌肉萎缩症。
So, Ye Pingxiu has an illness that her muscle degenerates. And even with this muscle degeneration, she became the champion of swimming. She challenged herself. Although I have weak muscles, but I will try harder. So only when you say no to defeat, only then you can create a better future. I admire people who cannot see. Even though they cannot see, they have a very sharp sense of hearing and touch. They are able. They have a very heightened sense of hearing and touching. Also, they cannot see, but they can feel the dots on braille. Braille are the language that blind people. That's how blind people read, and they can touch the dots and understand and read what is written using braille. And some blind people, they are very good fortune tellers too. Even though they cannot see you, they can tell your fortune. So sometimes, although you are blind, but you will not be obstructed by your sense of by the sense of the eyes. Also, we cannot see, but we are very fair and just. So in summary, maybe suffering will give rise to happiness, and happiness may one day become suffering. It is very similar to what Buddha Sakyamuni says. Sometimes our children doesn't understand it. Maybe they don't want to study, and they spend a lot of money and they just want to play. Why? Usually it's because of the money they have. But sometimes we cannot say that some people who grow up in a bad neighborhood will end up as thieves. Whether you are poor or rich, there's always a negative side. But what we are talking about today is that even though when you are in poverty, if you are able to use it and encourage yourself and strive for success, that will be great. Some people will feel that if this person are they born to be successful? But when I talk about the Singaporean Ye Pingxiu, although she is sick, she wants to defeat the illness, and so she practices very hard. She practices swimming, and she won a medal. This is a case of getting fortune because of suffering. But how many people get suffering from fortune? When we are in a very happy life, we have both of our parents, we have everything we need, we have food to eat and clothes to wear. What else do we need to learn? We also need to learn to live a frugal life. We need to learn this. We need to understand. We need to understand it. And once we do, we need to cherish it. If for people who are in a poor environment, we need to have a goal, an aspiration, a positive goal. But I want to remind everyone that there is a type of hard working that won't bring you any success. Say that if you live in Vietnam and you have a dream of becoming the president of United States, it might be an empty dream. Or some people say that I want to become the president, but you don't study and you don't learn. You won't be successful in the end. Say that if you want to become a dentist, then what do you need to study? Other than playing computer games, what else do you do? If you don't do anything other than playing computer games, then you probably won't become a dentist in this life. Maybe try it in your next life. If you have such an aspiration, it needs to be a true aspiration, and you need to work hard toward it. When should you take your aspiration for real? Only when you're poor. If a family is not very poor, and if you don't feel the pressure from poverty, maybe the child won't be pressured to do it. Maybe they don't have a lot of drive for it. Maybe they don't say that they don't have the aspiration. They say that, yes, I do. But they just have the wish, but they are not doing anything. In Buddhism, Buddhists teaches their disciples to study with belief, aspiration, and action. So when you have belief, you set a goal, you set an aspiration, and then you also need to take action. For example, Master Tang Xuanzang, he made a vow to go to India and find sutras, and he not only set an aspiration, he put it into action. He talked to the government to get a passport, and he prepared livestock to carry his luggage, and he also needs to exercise so that he has a strong physique, and he also needs to ask people how to go to India. He prepared himself, and when the time is right, he set foot to go to India. This is a true story. he really thought about it, and he did it. He took action, and he successfully brought sutras back from India. If you only think about an aspiration, but you never work toward it, you think about that at night, but when you wake up in the morning, you're still the same man. You don't get up in the morning. In schools, there are bullies. And if you are being bullied, you might feel that, I want to study Kung Fu so that I won't get bullied again. But when you don't get up in the morning, and so you don't have time to practice Kung Fu, and maybe you will be beaten up again. If you don't get up in the morning, how can you practice anything? When I was young, I was being bullied, and because I want to become stronger, I was very, very diligent and got up very early in the morning to practice. Anyone who succeeds, they are all diligent people. And if you look at all the people who are success, you can see something in common. The first is aspiration, second is diligence, and third is loyalty. Look at Lincoln. When Lincoln was a businessman, he accidentally took $2 extra, and he returned this money walking for several miles on his feet to return these $2. And so he was very honest and very loyal. If you cheated people, people will not elect you. And just because he owed a customer $2, he walked for miles to return the money. And when Lincoln is running in an election, this customer will probably tell everyone how honest he is. And when he becomes president, he will be very good to us. And so it's very important to be honest and down to earth in your daily lives. And also, to be a successful person, we should not be affected by the 8 worldly winds, whether it's good experience or bad experience. And to be successful in our aspirations, we should not be afraid of being defeated along the road. Edison, when he invented the light bulb, his success comes from hundreds times of failure. It's very easy to talk, but how much effort did Edison spend? And he continued his research to become successful. If we are talking about patents, Edison is probably a millionaire back in his time. So we want to remind all the young friends that have a realistic and an honorable aspiration. Think about it, plan it, so that you can achieve it. So first, you really have to take it seriously and take it as the only goal in your life. You have to take action to achieve it. Every time you take action, you are one step closer to your aspiration. I hope that all the friends, when you listen to this teaching, I hope that you can truly understand it, so that you are one step closer to the truth, so that your life so you can achieve success in your life easier, so that you can have a beautiful life, so that you don't live like the ancestors as simply a farmer or a peasant. So to have a beautiful and creative life, we need to persist in our goal and never be defeated, and always try. And success will be waiting for you down the road. Okay, I will not talk too much more about this topic. I hope that all the friends can learn something. In my last live broadcast session, I promise you that we will draw some prizes in this live session, and we will draw prizes from our sponsors of our online teachings, and also from the list of people who are listening. First, we will draw prizes from people who are watching our Mandarin YouTube channel.
好的，那我这个现在我拿到的这个画面呢？
Right now, I'm holding in my hand is
现在我拿到的这个画面呢是
the view of Mandarin YouTube.
中文平台
Mandarin YouTube channel, and I'm going to draw a prize.
随机的一会儿呢，我再滑动，
I'll
滑动，
I'll move
很停我就停下来。
I'll move the comments, and Jue Jin can call me to stop. I will just move the comments. Stop.
哎，跳过去了，跳过去了。刚才是哪一个？是这个。
Do you want to try one more time? It's moving too fast. Everybody is leaving a message, and it's moving too fast. Everyone is saying, "Pick me, pick me." It's moving too fast. Let's try again. It's way too fast. We need to capture it right away, so that we can keep it.
摁住他也行，师傅。如果摁住这个人的那个
摁不住，你以为抓蚂蚱？
It's very difficult to stop the comment from moving.
这是电呢。
可以摁得住。
准备好手机了吗？把它照下来，我按着哪一个就照下来哈。
Let's get ready to take a picture.
好，开始。
Let's do it again.
不行，等一下，大屏幕都看不到。好。
Wait.
不是我白滑了半天了。好，再来哈。
One more time.
停。
Stop.
谁呀？
他又跳了吧？你照的哪一个？
Did you take a picture? Can you see which one was there?
金瑞牙哈。
金瑞牙。
现在，所以我们手机照下来是对的。
经常得奖啊，真是很。
金瑞牙。
金瑞牙 is very lucky.
好。
You will receive a prize. Where are the prizes?
好，今天我讲给
Here
金
it
瑞
is.
牙的呢。
This is the JinBodhi's 64 trigrams. It is like playing cards, and we will contact you and send it to you. It's a fortune-telling trigrams. Let's do one more. Stop.
哎，又跑了，照下来没？
Did you take a picture?
太慢了，
You're too slow.
再来。
One more time.
等一下。等一下。
Wait.
可以吗？
How about now?
网友现在好兴奋，好激动啊！我的天哪！
Everyone is very excited right now.
网友说：“师傅抓我，师傅抓我
Master pick me, master pick me.
点我，还有抽我。欢乐的网友们，现在
来，开始了。
好，
Let's get started.
停，抓住，
这个
点住
哈，
别动，抓住。
杜维，
哦，
杜维哈，
哎呀，恭喜各位！
护卫，
你照了吗？
were you able to take a
照了
picture?
哈。
Yeah?
好，行了。
Okay.
杜维哈。
杜维。
这是这个 YouTube 中文平台。
So that was from the Chinese YouTube channel.
礼品的话给杜维。
What is the price for 杜维?
小毛巾啊。
How about this handkerchief?
这是鼠来宝的小毛巾。
This is a handkerchief for the year of the rat. I designed it.
是毛巾的绒的，一面是
It's the two sides of the handkerchief is different and it's very easy to use. Everyone is very excited. Now let's take a look at the English YouTube channel. Stop. Let's see who this is.
侦探。
侦探。
侦探啊，侦探。侦探。还有一个小毛巾叫数
One more.
啊，很吉祥的意思哈。
One more handkerchief for 侦探。
韩文的哈。好。
All right. Now let's go to the Korean YouTube channel.
韩文的少啊，我们就任意点一个吧。
Let's choose one from the Korean channel.
但是这名字我不认识。
I cannot read Korean, so I will just pick one.
好，韩国朋友哈，这个。
Korean friends.
那我的奖品是。
The prize for you is a JinBodhi's JinBodhi's 64 trigrams. Okay. Now I am on to the Chinese Facebook page. Stop. Who is it? Joanne Yap.
Joanne.
Congratulations to Joanne. Here, this pink handkerchief is yours. May happiness be with you. Now we will go to the English Facebook channel. One more time. Let's get started. Stop. Lily. Lily Lu. I will give you a bracelet. This is a blue glass bead. May you be auspicious. Everyone is very excited and they are waiting. Because in the previous live broadcast session, Grandmaster JinBodhi mentioned that we will also draw from people who sponsored our online teachings. Everyone is saying that, Master, pick me, pick me, pick me, or point to me. And some people are very excited. They want to save time and they just say me, me, me.
哦，还有 me me， 还有英文的，哎，太有意思了。
好，
All right. Let's get ready to draw from sponsors who sponsored our online classes. There are 10 gifts for you. We will save the biggest prize to the last. Let's get started. In this container, there are sponsors' names. When I move it, there is one name in each piece of paper. Master, is my name in there too? Asked Jue Zhen. Pick me. I'm going to mix it first. All right, Jue Zhen, remind me, call stop, so I will stop. After you say stop, I will stop and choose one. All right. This is where the opening is. Okay, now I'm going to open it. And now you can see inside. It's all little pieces of paper with our sponsors' names. We'll get started. We'll choose the first one. I'm going to move around. Can you see my hands? I will pick one. I will pick one randomly. And I hope this friend will be auspicious. Our first friend. Now I'm going to close it. Let's see who the first winner is. This is number 2358. So this is the sponsor's ID, and our staff will contact sponsor number 2358 later. Master, what gift does he receive? Sponsor 2358 will receive this mala. This is a very beautiful moonlight mala. Moonlight Bodhisattva mala. This is a 108 bead mala. You can use it as a necklace. It's very beautiful and very auspicious. Congratulations to our first sponsor winner. Second sponsor will also receive a Moonlight Bodhisattva gemstone mala. Let's get started. Jue Zhen, remember to say stop. You can see that I didn't hide any draws on my hand. All right. Let's pick one. Pick me, pick me. Okay, I got the pink one this time. Master, could you open it? The name on here is Su Qin. Congratulations, Su Qin. May you be auspicious. May your family be happy. May you live as long as the mountains. And this Moonlight Bodhisattva gemstone mala is for you, Miss Su.
太棒了，太棒了！好，我们还有机会啊，我们还在等啊。
there are more chances.
时候网友的留言又是一片一片的，抓我抓我。
There are a
这是
lot
第
of
三位
people
的哈
leaving
同
messages.
样的啊
Pick
同
me,
样的
pick
这个
me.
宝石念
So
珠
the third prize winner will also receive a Moonlight Bodhisattva gemstone mala.
开始摇
Let's
摇
get started.
摇摇
摇，停，
Stop.
好，好，我就打开了。
Now let me open this.
抓我！
这次我也往那边抓一抓。
This I'm going to pick from the side. Let's see. Oh,
你看这都是折叠的，我看不到是谁。
I got the pink one, and it's folded, so we don't know whose name is
我
inside.
们都期待着师傅把名字再读出来。
Master, please read out the name.
这是叫方灿和家吧？
The name is Fang Chan, the family of Fang Chan.
是哈，
方灿和家。
好啊。
The family of Fang Chan.
恭喜方灿。
Congratulations, Fang Chan.
好，祝福方灿全家。
Congratulations.
如意
May
吉
your
祥
family be
长命
auspicious
百岁
and live a long life.
幸福快乐。
Be happy and
好这是
joyful.
你的礼物啊！
This is your
方灿
gift.
啊
太好了。
你别放混了哦。是谁
可能是我们北
Be
美
careful, don't mix it.
修
This is
那么又再开始了哈。好，
this is
下一个
probably
礼物
someone
下一个
from
礼物
North America from
下一个
this
礼物
person's name. The
是
next
小号
the
的
next gift
啊
is
铜制的
a
金刚
bronze
这
vaja.
个太好了，破除障碍。
对，破除障碍。
It will eliminate any
婚姻家庭
obstacles.
事业
May your
幸福
marriage,
啊
family, may your career
我们
be
的有缘人，请师
be
傅再
smooth
摇起来。
sailing and successful.
当师傅摇的时候呢，有个网友太激动了。
Master,
他
when you
他一直想
are
说师傅摇到我
rolling the
摇到我
bean,
哈结果他
they
一写字
there's
写
someone
成了
who's
摇
saying that
师傅摇我
Master,
摇到我摇到我
Master, swing to my name, swing to my name.
我得把这口转上来。
I need to move the opening up so you can see my hand.
这个是第4位了吧？
This is our
第
fourth
四位了
gift.
第四位了。
还有机会啊，我们都还有机会。
We
师
still
傅
have
戳到我，
chances.
戳到我。
哎，
Okay,
好
this
这
time
是
it's a
抽到一个
blue
蓝色
one.
的。
好，师傅，请把号码
Master,
读出来
please read out the number.
4059。
4059.
啊，
Sponsor ID 4059.
祝你
Congratulations.
全家幸福
May your
如
family
意
be
吉祥
auspicious,
天
happy.
天开心。
May you are
长
happy
命
every
百岁
day. May you live
事
a
业
long
兴旺
life. May your career be
所
successful.
以啊
I think
对
ID
4059
4059 is laughing. This vaja is yours.
好，
下一位的礼物呢？
Next
下一
one.
个礼物，
What's the next prize?
哦，
这个呢
好美啊！
是我前几期上课的
This
时候
mala,
带的，
I have
这个
been wearing it
师
for
傅
the
脖子上
past
戴着
few
念
sessions.
珠
这是
Yes,
这个黄色的
This is
琉
one
璃
that
黄色琉
I
璃
was wearing during
念
the
珠
past few
条啊
live sessions.
这个号有点大啊，有点
It
长
is
啊。
a
哇，看看谁
yellow
是这位幸
colored
运的
glass
网友啊！
好，
mala.
我们又开始了。
请师傅再摇
Let's
起
see who
来
is lucky.
摇啊摇，摇出我，摇啊摇。停，
Stop.
红色的，
This is a pink one.
看看谁能够得到
Let's see who is lucky to wear the mala that Master was wearing during his teachings.
佩戴的这个念珠啊，
黎光
The
荣
family of Li Guangrong.
合家，哇，
哦，好，祝福
Congratulations
幸
to
福快乐，
The family of Li
利
Guangrong.
万平
May
祥
your family be
长命
happy,
百岁，
auspicious.
呃
May
全家
all
以及事业
misfortunes
兴旺
become
发达
fortune.
哇，太赞叹
May
了
your
太
entire
赞叹了
family's
谁才
career
赞
be
叹
successful
这是我
and
带过好
prosper.
多
太
次的
幸福了，哎
好
呀，，
黎光荣，
You're very lucky.
6位了，
好，第六位了，
第6位了，哦，看到
Now
有什么
it's our
好的奖
sixth.
品给第6位，
What's number 6?
接下来呢，这个奖品呢是我们的八卦衫啊。
This is our Energy 八卦 T-shirt. Is this a newer style?
最新款
这是
的。
最新款的
Yes, this
哈
is a
对，这个
newer
颜色比
style.
上一款的要
This
要
color
深一些
is
哈，更
darker
稳重
than the
穿在
previous
身
one.
上
更好看。
更舒服。
It's
我
a
听
new
那个咱们
deep
已经
sky
穿到的
blue
那些
color.
同学们讲，
People who
面
has
料也
already
更舒
worn
适
it says that the
更舒适
fabric
更
is
凉
more
爽。
comfortable
这
and
个
it's
上有的
cooler too.
慈悲音上可能还没有到货，
It's
在
not
我们可以
yet
再去关注
available
一下啊
on cibeiyin.com
就
yet,
非常非常
but
的好
stay
师傅写的字
stay in touch.
最新款的八卦
This
速干
is
衫
好，
the
第
newest
6位幸运的网友，
Energy 八卦
师傅
T-shirt.
摇啊摇，摇出我。哦，慈悲音是有的哈。
Oh,
请各位
it's already
网友不要这个
available
失落
on
这是这个
cibeiyin.com.
最新款的这个八卦衫
You
啊
can go on to
啊
cibeiyin.com and
今天
find the
没有
newest
看到的网友
style.
赶紧到慈悲音上可以
If
去请
your
购
name wasn't picked,
这
you
个天
can
气正
get
好
it
可以
from
穿到了在八卦
cibeiyin.com,
的时候
and it's just right for this weather.
3988
Sponsor ID 3988.
活到99。
对，3988，祝你
Sponsor
全家
ID
幸
number
福
3988. May your family be happy, auspicious. May you live a very long
全家
life.
事业啊兴盛
May
发
your
展
family
感恩师傅。
prosper.
这个八卦衫啊，送给
So
你。
you will receive this Energy Bagua Quick Dry T-shirt.
第7位了吧？
Now is prize number 7.
现在第7位，第7，我们这个是10个嘛，
We have a total of 10 prizes, right?
现在是第
We
7
are
位
drawing for the 7th prize.
好，这第7呢还是这个八卦衫啊。
The 7th prize is also the Energy Bagua
对
T-shirt.
出了汗之后它很
It
快就
is
能
a
干
quick dry
不吃
T-shirt.
很爽
So when you are sweating, it's very
我
comfortable.
们摇起来，
It doesn't cling to your body.
摇摇摇，摇到我。停。
Stop.
红色的。
This time it's a red one.
林约阖家，
The family of Lin Yue.
阖家。
哦，恭喜恭喜！
Congratulations,
恭喜
Lin Yue.
啊！祝福
May
林
your
约全家人
May
吉祥
the family
如
of
意
Lin Yue be auspicious. May all your wishes come true. May you be safe and peaceful.
长寿。
May you be healthy and live a long life.
好，
May you be
祝福你
auspicious.
林约阖家。
感恩师傅，收到。
好，
第8位，哇，
第
The-
7位吧。第8位啊，
This is prize number 8.
那是好事啊。第8位，
Prize number 8
一只小香炉。
is a small incense burner.
师傅特意讲了这个香炉的
I wanted
意义啊
to. The other day, Master talked about the meaning of incense burner. It brings auspiciousness to the family, and it shows that the family has descendants,
多孙
has many children and grandchildren.
对，
吉祥护佑。
是好。我们看看谁
All right.
是这个香炉的有缘
Let's
人
see
啊
who
开始了
好，请师傅摇
has
起来
destiny with this incense burner.
香炉，香炉，香炉，香炉，香炉，香炉，停。
Stop.
好，靠近口上那个。
This one was very close to the opening. The family of Ping Bing. I think this person comes from the United States, maybe from the Milpitas Center. Very lucky. May your family be auspicious. May your family be healthy and live a long life. May you be happy and joyful. May you live as long as the mountains. May your career be smooth and prosperous. Thank you, Master, for your blessings. All right, the nice prize. This is number 9, right? No, Ping Bing was number 8. Now we are drawing for number 9. This is a fan that I created myself. I've actually posted a picture of it online. It says, kind heart and kind words. So this is an original one. It is not a copy. All right. All right, let's get started. Stop. Let's see who is lucky. The family of Kunchuan. I think this person comes from Toronto. Congratulations. A fan that is created by Master himself. All Bodhi disciples knows how much blessing this fan brings. May the family of Kunchuan be auspicious. May you live as long as the mountains. May you be happy and joyful. May you be wealthy and auspicious. All right. We're very happy for the family of Kunchuan. You're very lucky. You're very fortunate. One more. One more fan. I think it was last year. Yes. June 9th, 2019. In a very joyous state, I painted this fan. Is it beautiful? Master, could you tell the meaning of this painting? Whoever hears it can receive a blessing too. It means happy, joyful, and have inspiration. When I was very happy and joyful, I painted this fan. So people who are very lucky to see this fan today has already received a blessing too. Let's see who is destined to receive this gift. I named this fan the flower of life. Let's see who will receive this flower of life. May the flower of life blossom in my family. Let's see who has the fortune to receive this fan. My hand is mixing all the pieces of paper. I have already held it in my hand. I don't know what it is. It's a pink one. Let's see who is so lucky, who is so fortunate. Chimeng, the family of Chimeng. The family of Chimeng. This is a disciple from the United States. Congratulations, Chimeng, the flower of life. May the family of Chimeng be auspicious. May you are happy every day. May your family be harmonious. May your career be successful and follows your wish. May all my best wishes be with you. Thank you, Master. Thank you for your blessings. You are very fortunate. We all congratulate the family of Chimeng. We are very grateful to all the friends who support us. Thank you very much. All the names here are everyone who has sponsored our online classes from the first time all the way until now. Although we don't have a lot of gifts, I want to give more gifts. Let me see what else is here. Let's add one more. Let's add another incense burner. May every Bodhi disciple, may every friend of Bodhi have incense burning in their families. May you have descendants. May your family be auspicious and harmonious. May your career be successful. This is an extra prize that was not planned for. We're going to start. Jue, remember to call me to stop. Stop. I'm now going to look. I'm now going to look, and I'm going to mix it before I take one, so that it's very fair for everyone. May the medicine Buddha guide me to pick one. 3, 2, 1. I'm not looking at it. It's a blue one. All right. This is blue one. Sponsor ID number 3856. Congratulations. Congratulations to sponsor ID 3856. May all your wishes come true as you wish. May your family be harmonious and happy. May you live a long life. May you be protected and blessed by the Buddha and Bodhisattvas. Thank you, Master. This beautiful incense burner is yours. This type of clang imitates a special porcelain clang in the Zhang Dynasty. It's called the Ru clang. This is made in Taiwan, and they imitate the famous Zhang clang. It's like a jade. So many friends have received blessings from Master, and everyone who is watching has also heard and received the blessings from Master, and we are all very happy too. Master has told us about the auspicious meanings of these Dharma items, and you can choose one that you feel has destiny related to you and to bring you auspiciousness on zibeiyin.com. If you purchase from zibeiyin.com, if for any purchase total $500 or more, there is free shipping too. Alright, our next live session will be on Saturday. Today is Wednesday, so we will meet on Saturday, Vancouver Pacific time at 6 p.m. Let us gather to chant and practice together. Thank you all.
小小的红点里，人生就此欢喜。我快乐了，我健康了，我幸福了，我美丽了。在茫茫人海之中，让我与你相遇。小小的红点里，人生变得神奇。我智慧了，我宽容了，我慈悲了，我自在了。因为有了你，生命变得更坚定，不忧忧无虑。因为有了你，日子不再有哭泣，不再有恐惧。我快乐了，我健康了，我幸福了，我美丽了。 小的红点里，人生就此欢喜。我快乐了，我健康了，我幸福了，我美丽了。在茫茫人海之中，让我与你相遇。小小的红点滴，人生变得神奇。我只会